What up, y'all? It's the Real Ball Watcher. Grab your binoculars, and I'm back with another video, kind of similar to the last one, actually. Today, we're going to go over Princely Umanmielen. Yes, that's the correct pronunciation. Let me know if it's not, though. But I'm pretty sure it's Princely Umanmielen. It's somebody I got to interview at the Senior Bowl. Watched him throughout the whole draft process. Been a big fan. But we're going to talk about how he a little bit of boom or bust. Now, we got him in the third round, so it doesn't matter as much if he busts. I don't think he will. But we'll get to that in a second. So if you like the video, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff. Let me know who you want to see. Do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff. Now let's get into it. Now, a little quick school period like I did in the last one. We're not going to cover it as much as we did the last one, but there's 4 ways to win as a pass rusher. And the best guys can win in all 4 ways. Other guys, you're gonna, you're gonna cap your ceiling the least amount of ways you can win, or the less options that you have. So 4 is going to be your outside moves. It's going to be most outside of the tackle. We talked about this with ghost moves, speed moves, things like that. That's when your tackle is looking at your quarterback in the eyes. You never want to see that. When that happens, they usually got beat 4 all the way to the outside shoulder. 3, that's going to be your rips, chops, a little bit more speed to power, or you're just attacking half the man, but it doesn't have to be speed to power. You can win with speed right here. You can win with bend. As long as you're getting up and under that tackle's hips and running that hoop, you can win with 3. Counter to those 2, once your tackle starts oversetting, hey, we're going to go to 1. We're going to swim inside. We're going to cross his face. We're going to spin. We're going to do a cross chop inside. Maybe, yeah, cross chop inside. Different things that you can do to cross that tackle's face and get inside. It's your counter to how they set. And then 2 is what most tackles talk about as the hardest to defend, a bull rush. If you're able to use power, knock a tackle off guard, he can't overset, he can't stay inside because you can just run through his chest, because if he exposes his chest, it's over. That's really hard for a tackle to block. So we talked about how Nick Scoring wins in all 4 ways last week, or 2 weeks ago, I should say. Princely Umanmielen does not consistently enough for me to say that, and that's what makes him boom or bust. Now, we talked about the kind of fog of war when it came to Nick Scoring, and how he has gotten lower in his weight and things like that, so it may make him a lot more athletic and let him do a little bit more things when it comes to explosiveness, bend, and things like that. The thing with Princely Umanmielen, while he doesn't win in all 4 ways, he has shown that he has the physical tools to do that already. So there's not a guessing game of, hey, can he be this? Can he do that? We kind of already know what his physical tools are, which gives him a little bit of edge ahead when it comes into day 1, projecting him versus projecting Nick Scoring. I fully expect for Princely Umanmielen to maybe be a more productive pass rusher, not a better player, but a more productive pass rusher from day 1, because of he's used to playing at this way. He's used to playing with these tools and explosiveness, and he's still pretty polished. But we're going to get into that. So let's start actually getting into the film for Princely Umanmielen and why I think he is a boom or bust guy. There's a lot of nuance in this conversation. So let's go. Now let's talk about the boom for our guy Princely Umanmielen. Like I said, he's a very physically capable guy. As far as his combine numbers, it wasn't that impressive. I think he ran a 4.7. He had like a 1.65 or 1.7 10-yard split. So he isn't super explosive coming off, but he is 6'4", 34-inch arms almost. He's very lanky of a guy, and you see him winning with it here. He's a speed rusher that's not that explosive, which is very interesting. Let's let this play run versus Georgia. As you can see, he kind of comes off the ball. Of course, this is winning with 4. This is winning with that speed rush. Like I said, getting that tackle turned all the way around. He does that here. So when you're looking at this play, he kind of comes off the ball. I'll slow it down. He comes off the ball, gives his guy almost a false step inside, and that it kind of makes the tackle kind of brace a little bit for impact, like he's going in for a bull rush or something. And then he's able to take a long step outside and beat him around that corner with a little bit of swipe, just, get his hands off of me. But just that false step inside with the long step out, it's almost like a big Euro step that he did, or a hop step in the NBA or basketball terms. Be able to beat that tackle, get his hands off of you, and force an incompletion, because the quarterback did have to get the ball out early because of that. You see him win with that a lot. He's very interesting because, like I said, he's not super fast. Like I said, he's not super fast. He's not super explosive. He has decent tools when it comes to that. But the length that he has, it's almost like when guys are much taller, it doesn't look like they're running as fast. He almost has that asset to him where he's getting around them. He's beating guys with these speed moves and these finesse moves with this great bend that he has also. But he doesn't look, and he doesn't have counting numbers of the explosiveness that you would expect from a speed rusher. Now, looking at this next play, it's the same thing. He's going to win with 4. He's going to get outside once again, but this shows off his bend a little more because there is no false step, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there's no false step. He simply just gets off under the ball and gets under the tackle's shoulders, gets under his pads, under his hands, and he's able to just run the hoop, turn the corner very well after the rip, and get this sack on what's the Georgia quarterback, Carson something. But yeah, it just shows that when it comes to that speed element, while he doesn't have the counting numbers, he is very, very effective with the lift that he uses, the bend that he uses. That's the main thing for me. With his bend and his ability to turn that corner, his foot flexibility and things like that is it's elite almost. He has some of the best bend in his class. And I said this, then him, Mike Green, Donovan Ezaraku, those guys are some of the bendiest guys that came out of this class. So using that on the outside will help him win at the NFL level immediately. But let's move into 3. Now with number 3, he doesn't use it as much as somebody like Nick Scorton because Nick Scorton doesn't rely as much on his speed flexibility as he does his technician or craftsmanship, I should say. I don't know if technician and craftsman is almost the same thing, but I'm gonna assume that it is. So when he does use it though, you see it's more of a hesitation, get their guy to shoot first and then counter with his hands and get around, because once again he's using that bend, his hip flexibility, his foot flexibility to turn that corner right off of the offensive lineman's ass. Simple as that. So let's let this play run. As you can see, he kind of comes off with a little bit of a stutter step, almost a hesitation at the top of his, not at the top of his route, but at the top of his rush, because he explodes off 2 steps, boom, boom. Now we're gonna hesitate. We're gonna wait for the offensive tackle to shoot his hands, and that's exactly what happened. He shoots his hands, swipes him down, and he's able to just turn that corner because the offensive tackle, his feet are kind of held up. His feet are kind of in clay because he's like, hey, what is he doing? Is he going inside? Is he trying to run through me somehow? I don't know why they were threatened as much with exposing their chest and things like that. But it's able to hold up that offensive tackle's feet, and he has this great stop, start, and go ability and bend to get around that and make this sack and strip sack also, by the way. But yeah, his ability to be able to win with 4, win with that speed, but also be able to, hey, be a good enough athlete to stop, start, use his hands to get around somebody and bend around will help at the next level a lot and help immediately at the end of the day. So I really like his outside and his speed rush. When I talked to him at the Senior Bowl, he told me that he models his game after somebody like Von Miller, which when you watch his tape, like when you look at his numbers, athleticism numbers wise, you don't see it. You're like, I don't think you're that athletic. I mean, you guys are kind of 2 different body types almost, and you would expect to have different games. But when you're watching the way he wins, it is Von Miller-esque. It is very much speed rush-esque. So I understand that comp a little bit more as I delve deeper into his film, because I watched his film, like I said, for a long time ago at the start of the year. I was a big fan of Prince Umanmielen. I had him compared to Jadeveon Clowney because of the body composition, not body composition, but the body type as far as frame-wise, maybe not the weight. And he is pretty strong, but maybe not the weight. Or run defense, but as a pass rusher, I think he is a little bit more polished. He wins with that athleticism like Jadeveon Clowney, and I think he could be a really good number 2 rusher like Jadeveon Clowney has been in his career. So yeah, I winning with 3 and 4, there's not an issue there. And let's do one more good one before we get to the rest. You feel me? So let's go into his counters. Let's get an inside counter because he's winning so much to the outside. Let's see what happens when he finally gets a guy who oversets. Now here we are still against Georgia, because he was just beating up on guys against Georgia. But he's facing a different offensive tackle. Now, he's going to use somewhat the same move as I showed you before with that hesitation and then go. But he kind of combines the first pass rush rep I showed you with the last one I just passed, where he kind of does a hesitation and he gives you a step again to do that hop step or Euro step almost to lead into it, but it's towards the outside. Now, knowing his tendencies, offensive tackles know, hey, he loves to beat me to the outside, so I'm going to be prepared for that outside move. I'm going to overset if I have to, but then that leaves you exposed to be cut off inside, which he shows his hip flexibility and his bend is great to cross a guy's face, but he has a great spin move. His spin move is so polished and so intentional that you love whenever you see him use that inside counter. You know it's a dangerous tool set in his arsenal. So let's look at this first play. Like I said, he comes off hesitation and then long steps outside. Spins so great. The spin is so great that 52 completely turns around, gets clipped, and he just broke his ankles. He sacked the offensive tackle and the quarterback at the same time. And once again, it was a strip sack. So like 2 strip sacks in this game against Georgia, against 2 different tackles. I mean, you just look at this. It's a beauty. I mean, I don't even want to talk over it too much, because look at the tackle, bro. Look at the tackle. He did the tackle so dirty, dropped him so bad that they couldn't even recover the fumble because he did him so bad. He was just right there on the ground already to recover the fumble. Like, that is disgusting. Getting his feet tangled up. This is a basketball move, you feel me? This is misdirection at its finest. Basketball move. To come up, hey, get off the line. I'm going to hesitate a little bit. Then I'm going to step wide outside. I know you think I'm going outside. As soon as I plant that foot, boom, I'm spinning off to the inside. We getting a strip sack. You're clipping yourself. You're falling over your own feet, falling directly on your face. And there's a fumble there. That's just really, really good intentional movement, an intentional pass rush. That's a great pass rush plan. You talk about pass rush plans. Both of the guys that we drafted have really good pass rush plans going into it. So I'm going to show one more play when it comes to option number one and how you inside counter against guys. It's against 71 again. 71 had a rough day. But it's almost the same thing where he kind of hesitates. He doesn't use the big outside step. So 71 doesn't necessarily get his hips flipped completely, ready to run the hoop. So he kind of uses his, still steps outside and spins, but his spin is a little bit more wonky right here. But he still has good hips to get around and uses his arms to, shield off that tackle. He's able to, force the quarterback to throw it early also. It gets tipped. He also gets hits when he's throwing the ball or right after by Princely Umanmielen, and it causes an interception to seal the game. So you're going to see him win with 3 and 4, and he's going to be able to inside counter. Now, the issue and where the meat and potatoes of this video really comes in is 2. So let's get into option 2 right now. Now, not to be super long-winded on this part, because I don't want to seem like this is a negative video. I'm just giving you guys the facts. You can deal with your opinions or whatever you want to take from it from there, and I'll give you mine at the end. But the facts of the matter is, when you're not playing 71 versus Georgia or 53 versus Georgia or whoever you are playing in the SEC that isn't necessarily a top or a great or a good or even maybe an average NFL talent, still SEC, so they could be a below average NFL talent at the worst. You never know. But when you're not facing those guys, you're facing guys with much better hands, much better technique, much better feet that aren't going to get tripped up, that aren't going to get baited as easy, that's not going to let you feint their hands out, almost like a boxer trying to feint a guy. You're going to have to win with overwhelming power sometimes because, hey, if they're not shooting their hands, their chests are exposed. And that's where we run into a little bit of issues. Let's look at this play right here against Georgia. I want to say it's number 73, but Princely Umanmielen, we talked about how he's not very explosive off the line. We talked about it last week with Nick Scourton, where he's dropping weight. That explosiveness is going to help him retain some of that power he had at a heavier weight. While Princely Umanmielen is strong, I've seen it in the run game, I've seen it in the pass rush game also. He even stated he squats 700 pounds. That explosiveness coming off limits how powerful he can be when you get your chest exposed. Let's look at it against 73. He gets there and he's just stonewalled. He has both hands on 73. He's pushing. 73 anchors down simply right on that Ole Miss logo. And there's no pressure from Princely Umanmielen. Now, his teammates got some pressure. Jared Ivey got some pressure against this offensive guard. And almost a one-eye. But Princely Umanmielen isn't doing much here. He doesn't have much power to offer here. And that's not saying he's not strong. Because like I said, I've seen it. Matter of fact, I'll pull up a rep where, hey, this guy is showing some decent power. He's actually getting a little bit of push. Once again, against 71. Hey, he comes off. He gets in his chest enough to force him to, lose his anchor, be on his back foot, and get pushed into the quarterback. Now, this was a completed pass, but you see there is some power there. But when it comes to that lack of explosiveness against stronger guys, I mean, imagine him against a mauler. Like, what's the guy? Joe Alt. Joe Alt had Jadeveon Clowney in hell. You think somebody a lot more slender, not as athletic as Jadeveon Clowney, and frankly not as good of a pass rusher today as Jadeveon Clowney is going to be able to survive and dominate a Joe Alt? Not as of now. So we got to figure out a way for him to maybe get more explosive off of the line or something to show a little bit more power. Because I'll even show you, hey, I showed you guys the good, so I got to show you the bad. When he faces a guy that has good enough feet, when he faces a guy that have good enough technique and isn't fainted. Let's look at it. 55 against Arkansas. He's trying to go outside. He's trying to use that hey, go win with number 3. But 55 just has really, really good feet. He has really good feet. He's not going to allow him to get out there. He's not going to shoot his hands early. So Princely shoots his 53 is able to neutralize him, put him in the dirt. Simple as that. He's able to get neutralized. That's not Joe Alt. That's not a Rashawn Slater. That's not a, what's the guy for the Vikings or the Giants, Andrew Thomas. He's not one of those guys. He's not even a Tristan Wirfs in our division. So that it's interesting, and that's not the only time. I want to say it's the time against Georgia that I'll pull up, other than the 73, where hey, he's trying to get outside, he's trying to win, and it doesn't go his way because I think it was against 71 also. He just played well enough, I guess. So let's look at it here against 71. I mean, he's coming off trying to get to the outside, and 71 just kind of swipes down. He waits to shoot his hands until Princely Umanmielen can't defend it, does a little bit of a snatch technique or kind of swipes down on him, and Princely Umanmielen is in the dirt. So, and that's nothing against him. I think this is a really good player. I'm a big fan of his. Really good talk I had with him at the Senior Bowl. A couple of talks, actually. I'm excited for him to be a Panther. I'm getting a jersey. So it's nothing against him. It's nothing against that. It's not saying it's a bad pick, but there's upside and there is a floor. And his floor may be like a Leonard Floyd. You feel me? It could be a Leonard Floyd. One of those, hey, he's simply going to be a pass rusher. A guy you come in, he's going to be your number 2, or hopefully could be your number 2. And you're saying, hey, it's going to say, hey, go get after the quarterback, win in the ways that you win, and then you have a number 1 on the other side. I think that's perfect what we have in him and Princely. I mean, not him and Princely, him and Scorton. Scorton could be your number 1 technician. Hey, you go beat all the guys in all the ways, and we're going to deploy him in the ways that he wins on the other side, which will be Princely Umanmielen. I think that's great. I think that's good strategy. But then there's also a world where, hey, maybe he is a Von Miller. Maybe he is a Jadeveon Clowney. He could be a low-end 1 at a Jadeveon Clowney, high-end 2, or maybe be a little bit more. Maybe he gets some more explosiveness in an NFL weight room, and he's able to use his power a little bit more. Maybe he gets a little more explosiveness off the line, and he's able to bend around the corner and just beat guys to the landmark a lot more often. It worked in the SEC. It worked in college, but will it work as well in the NFL? That's why I believe Princely Umanmielen is a boom or bust guy, and I'm leaning into the boom. Let me just say that. I'm leaning into the boom. So there's that. So yeah, that's all I got for you in this video. I personally think Princely Umanmielen will be a good player. I'm a big fan. I've been a big fan. If you follow me on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. He was in my edge rankings. I think he was like edge number 6 or 7. I want to say it was like 7. He wasn't super duper high. But it was a lot of edges in this class. So being 7 is great. Like I said, I talked to him at the Senior Bowl, let him know I appreciate his game, told him my comp for him, and he was like, yeah, I kind of rock with Jadeveon Clowney. I can see that. So yeah, this is not a hit video on him. If you watch my Nick Scoring video, I did the same thing with Nick Scoring. If you watched my Bryce Young video last year, did the same thing with Xavier Leggett. I'm just going to give you the facts. I'm going to show you what the film tell me, and I'm going to give you what I interpreted. You can tell me in the comments what you interpreted, because I love when y'all comment what you think. That's one of my favorite parts about this YouTube channel, the interaction ability, things like that. So if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff, share it with your peoples. Let me know what videos y'all thinking next. I gave y'all a couple ideas which one y'all want to see first, or if I got you got an idea that I ain't said and you would like to see, I'll look into it, you feel me? But I'll see y'all in 2 weeks. Training camp coming up, but I'm out.